We'll do it live.
No.
We'll do it live.
Fuck it.
Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. I'm Bill
Griffin.
O'Reilly.
Thanks
again for watching.
We'll leave you with Sting and a cut off his new album. Take it away.
Take it away.
There's little I can say, again, that'll make this situation better, but I do have a message for our community, for our city, and I have a message for ICE. To ICE, get the fuck out of Minneapolis. We do not want you here. Your stated reason for being in this city is to create some kind of safety, and you are doing exactly the opposite. People are being hurt. Families are being ripped apart. Long-term Minneapolis residents that have contributed so greatly to our city, to our culture, to our economy are being terrorized, and now somebody is dead. That's on you. And it's also on you to leave. It's on you to make sure that further damage, further loss of life and injury is not done. We're going to be working towards justice as quickly as we possibly can right now, and justice is what we've all got to get.
All right, and Laura, this is what President Trump just posted. I have just viewed the clip of the event which took place in Minneapolis. It's a horrible thing to watch. The woman screaming was obviously a professional agitator, and the woman driving the car was very disorderly, obstructing and resisting, who then violently, willfully, and viciously ran over the ICE officer who seems to have shot her in self-defense. Based on the clip, hard to believe he is alive, but is now recovering in the hospital. The situation is being studied in its entirety. The reason these incidents are happening is because the radical left is threatening, assaulting, and targeting our law enforcement officers and ICE agents on a daily basis. They are just doing the job of making America safe. We need to stand by and protect our law enforcement officers from this radical left movement of violence and hate.
I have a very simple message. We do not need any further help from the federal government. To Donald Trump and Kristi Noem, you've done enough. There's nothing more important than Minnesotan safety. I've issued a warning order to prepare the Minnesota National Guard. We have soldiers in training and prepared to be deployed if necessary. I remind you, a warning order is a heads up for folks. And these National Guard troops are our National Guard troops. They're teachers in your community, they're business owners, they're construction professionals. They are Minnesotans. Minnesota will not allow our community to be used as a prop in a national political fight. We will not take the bait.
ICE agent shoots a woman in the face and kills her. That is the headline coming into the Don Lemon Show newsroom out of Minnesota. According to officials in Minnesota, a federal agent believed to be an ICE agent has shot a female protester in her car while she was trying to turn around. Again, these are initial reports. The city of Minnesota is asking people to avoid the area where they were shot. The governor, Tim Walz, is asking for calm, and the mayor of Minneapolis is asking or demanding that ICE agents leave and saying they stand rock solid with their immigrant community. So again, this is the breaking news. It is just coming in, but according to reports, an ICE agent has shot a woman in the face, fatally wounding her. More details as we get them into the Don Lemon Show newsroom, and more details on Lemon Live at 5 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, on Twitch, or you can get us on social, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, and also Substack. We'll see you then.
I know, man. I watched the video, y'all. I watched the fucking video. The news is gonna say she tried to ram them. She most certainly did not. They ran in her car, holding onto their guns, and then they shot her when she tried to drive away. She wasn't trying to ram anyone. She was trying to get away from a dangerous situation, and now she's fucking dead. If you are okay with the fact that they're gunning people down in the streets, in the suburbs of Minneapolis, then you're not a freedom fighter. You're a fucking my country! Leave my state!
I know, man. I get everybody's mad. Well, do something. We're out here doing something. Don't talk about Officer fucking Reason. Officer Reason. If you can get back to 33rd.
Jesus Christ.
Stay back behind the line.
Flying by me, so I'm like, something's happening over here, so.
Yeah. And what did you see exactly yourself?
I didn't witness, but I talked to several people that witnessed it, and they heard the gunshot, and the one guy said that they reached for her door handle, and then she took off, and then he shot her through the windshield, and shot her in the face. So they're taking her on the corner there by ambulance right now.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for being here with me.
It was an act of domestic terrorism. What happened, it was our ICE officers were out in an enforcement action. They got stuck in the snow because of the adverse weather that is in Minneapolis. They were attempting to push out their vehicle, and a woman attacked them and those surrounding them and attempted to run them over and ram them with her vehicle. An officer of ours acted quickly and defensively shot to protect himself and the people around him. And my understanding is that she was hit and is deceased. We're continuing to gather more information, but this goes to show the assaults that our ICE officers and our law enforcement are under every single day.
ICE just shot and killed a U.S. citizen in Minnesota. She was in the driver's seat, and they shot her 3 times in the face. You can hear it in the video.
Look at this live shot that we're seeing right now. We just saw some black vehicle vans moving their way through, and now you see snowballs flying in this group of individuals that are moving. You've got law enforcement in the front of this group that look like they're walking backwards, so they're being pushed, is the way it looks, backwards by protesters who are throwing snowballs at them right now. Let's bring in Victor Avila. Let's stay on this live shot as we bring in Victor, retired ICE special agent, now assistant director for the Office of National Drug Control Policy in the administration.
Preliminary information that we have indicates that this woman was in her vehicle and was blocking the roadway on Portland Avenue, midway between 33rd Street and 34th Street in the city. At some point, a federal law enforcement officer approached her on foot, and the vehicle began to drive off. At least 2 shots were fired. The vehicle then crashed on the side of the roadway.
They are already trying to spin this as an action of self-defense. Having seen the video of myself, I want to tell everybody directly, that is this was an agent recklessly using power that resulted in somebody dying.
They're saying that this is domestic terrorism. My guess is the ICE agents instigated American citizens on their God-given streets, probably not well trained because they're literally enticing people to become masked agents of chaos.
A police officer came up to us and said that they're going to be adding more resources over there for the investigation. They're going to be blocking off more of the sidewalk and more of the street. So they asked us to kind of move over here to this side of the street. And you might be able to see there's some more officers kind of gathering over here in the middle of the street here to try to create a perimeter. So it appears that they're providing more resources into the investigation itself that is happening down the street.
We don't have any more information. We will be giving updates as they come. This could lead to massive riots. You want to come into people's neighborhoods and start running them over, right? Now, that's the claim. ICE is saying that this lady tried to run them over. I'm just not buying it. Not at this point. I'm going to have to see that body cam footage before I change my mind. And while I don't want violence at all, I won't be surprised if this turns into more violence because the people are not being listened to. And when voices are not being heard, maybe fists will be. Again, I'm not encouraging that. I won't be surprised when it happens.
The military, Minnesota National Guard is comprised of 13,000 soldiers and airmen. We live all across and work throughout Minnesota. A warning order is just an initial step to increase your preparations. The Minnesota Guard is always prepared to respond and support state agencies and the citizens of Minnesota. So what that means for us today is just some additional checks on equipment that is ready at all times, and maybe some additional phone calls to service members who might be activated, but no activations. We are embedded with our state agencies here at the Operations Center to just continue parallel planning in the event that we are needed to support.
And I would make note, Mary, and to Minnesotans on this about the National Guard, they're there to protect you and protect your constitutional rights. These are our neighbors. They don't wear masks. They don't bust in from somewhere else. They're not here to cause hassles to you or what we saw today, the tragedy. Having them at the ready to make sure, because when we see these types of things happen, and we saw it after the murder of George Floyd, there's folks that want to cause chaos. There's the disruptors in it. And while the vast majority of those protests were peaceful expressions of their First Amendment rights, there were those that destroyed property and put people at risk. The National Guard is there to make sure that peaceful protests are able to be done and that those that want to do the destruction are stopped from doing that.
This is my neighborhood. I grew up in this neighborhood. Southside is my neighborhood. And my people, I had to run around this neighborhood, tell my people to get inside their house. Who are gonna speak for them? Me and my brother are out here speaking for my people because they can't do it. So you know what? I don't care. You can't take me. You can't touch me. I have a right to be here, and I'm a U.S. citizen. I'm not going anywhere.
I think ICE's actions in this state are despicable, and we don't want them here. We don't want them taking our neighbors.
It doesn't feel like it's set in. It doesn't totally feel real, to see hundreds of armed, masked agents in the street in front of my house.
People showing up in mismatched bulletproof vests that say police, and it looked like they were ordered off the internet, and their faces are covered, and they just look totally militarized. Like, who are they? What are they doing here?
Oh, it's what are we doing? What is our country? What is happening? My God.
These are people's lives. They're not hurting anyone. Like, for what? This is based on hate, right? Like, it's all based on a hate.
I mean, I just don't believe that whoever shot this person is going to come to justice, and that's sickening.
I'm here in Minneapolis at the intersection where ICE agents shot a woman earlier this morning. And I won't say I'm not scared, because I am. How do you not feel fear at the fact that we live in a police state where we could just be shot in the face for exercising our First Amendment rights? But I think they don't know what they're messing with. Like, it's already only been 1 hour, 2 hours, and there's 100, 200 people behind me demanding that they arrest the shooter who shot this woman. And 5.5 years ago, George Floyd was killed in this neighborhood just a few blocks from where I'm standing right now. And when that happened, our city knew how to respond. Our generation knew how to respond. Our country knew how to respond. 20 million of us took to the streets. And so if ICE thinks that they can, scare us into submission by killing us, I mean, that's not true. So yeah, I'm scared, but I also really believe in us to be brave, and I believe that we have more courage in our fingertips than the Trump administration could ever dream of. If you're seeing this and you're horrified, if you're looking for something meaningful and real to do, join the youth movement to stop fascism and win the futures we deserve. Join Sanders today.
Don't be outraged, and that's it, about what's just happening in Minnesota. What do you think is going to happen when you bring in 2,000 federal officials who don't look like investigators of fraud? They look like they're dressed for combat. Yes, you must obey the law in a civilized society. But we have learned this lesson so many times for the last 50 years, at least 75 years. You go in strong like that, you send an aggressive and menacing message from law enforcement, you're going to have problems. And I'm not saying that what was done was right in whatever kind of ramming or whatever the investigation yields, but you have to expect problems when you bring in this kind of police presence. And I believe the Trump administration knows this and welcomes it. Not saying they want people to get hurt or shootings, but they want the smoke. They want to show they are strong. They want the confrontation. They want the conflict. And look, I'm not here for what the response to them from politicians in Minnesota is either. Walz, the governor, has enough trouble with why there's so much fraud that he was either unaware of or okay with. Okay? And I don't know why the response from the mayor, who I've interviewed and I've always found to be, straightforward, is we stand with our immigrant community. America is about immigrants. You don't need to draw it as a distinction. Now, I get it as a point of contrast to what the message is from the Trump administration, but after a shooting involving federal officers where someone may have rammed into them with a vehicle, you say you stand with the immigrants? It's not the right message either. Of course, we are about immigrants. It can't be us or them in America. As George Washington told us in his farewell address, be a nation. That is all. Stop with us and them, or you're just going to have more violence.
You! Shame! 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 Kill people!
Stay back.
Shut the up! You don't tell nobody to do shit! Shut the up! We're citizens! You ain't got no jurisdiction over us!
Stay back.
Shut the up! Peggy!
Flying by me, so I'm like, something's happening over here, so.
And what did you
I'm
see
just
exactly
shaking.
yourself?
I didn't witness, but I talked to several people that witnessed it, and they heard the gunshot. And the one guy said that they reached for her door handle, and then she took off, and then he shot her through the windshield.
Say something.
This is f***ing ridiculous. You don't protect people.
You're here because assholes like you thought that you had power over us and trampled our rights.
Hey, come on. They're shooting our neighbors, and you're talking to us. We have an active scene right now. We have to.
Okay, the active scene's right there.
Yeah,
Not
it's
right
there.
here,
We
bro.
have to clear out this.
You're that desperate for a couple of bucks?
Come on! Somebody! Say something! Take your mask down!
Yeah, hey, Nicole, the scene's still very active here. We have a lot of protesters still around, but what's interesting is ICE and Border Patrol have left, so energy has shifted a little bit. It's not as elevated as it was. Right now, we have local police, you have the sheriff, you have the FBI on scene conducting the investigations. Let me move out of the way so you can see some of the protester groups here that are still in the area. And we actually just got a statement from ICE as well. I think we can put that up for you here, where ICE says, quote, ICE officers in Minneapolis were conducting targeted operations when rioters began blocking ICE officers. One of these violent rioters weaponized her vehicle, attempting to run over our law enforcement officers in an attempt to kill them, an act of domestic terrorism. An ICE officer, fearing for his life, the lives of his fellow law enforcement, and the safety of the public, fired defensive shots. He used his training and saved his own life and that of his fellow officers. The alleged perpetrator was hit and is deceased. So we have confirmation there that the woman who was involved in that incident has died, was pronounced dead. And so we want to pan over this way now, if we can, Rod, to that side to show the other side of the scene here, because we have vehicles that are rested up against a telephone pole. One of those vehicles, the SUV, was the vehicle that she was allegedly driving and had tried to apparently run her vehicle into an ICE officer. Now, another person on scene that was nearby when all of this unfolded said that the woman was trying to basically turn her car around. So there are some conflicting reports here. Obviously, the body cam footage or whatever can kind of come out of this in their investigation will really have a big impact here because of what unfolded here with a woman being killed. But ICE, none of their officers were injured, as you could see in that statement. The city of Minneapolis is calling for ICE to leave. Mayor Frey also doubling down, saying that this is just causing chaos. He's actually speaking in about 7 minutes at City Hall, so we'll bring that to you as well. But very active scene here. We were actually here when Border Patrol was trying to leave, and I think we have some video to show you that's pretty jarring, where they were actually throwing snowballs at first, but then they started throwing and hitting things at the vehicles that they were in. They actually smashed out the back window of a Border Patrol vehicle. The front window also smashed in. Tear gas was deployed. They had pepper balls being deployed as well. They were using those less lethal munitions. We saw a guy get tear gassed or pepper ball point blank right in his face because he was an agitator, according to these Border Patrol agents. They were throwing snowballs. I mean, this was all out chaos that we were watching unfold, and we were hit by a couple of them too, and we were right in the thick of it all as that was unfolding. But Border Patrol was trying to leave the scene, and that's what the chaos was that unfolded there. Again, several different shots of less lethal munitions being deployed down here because of the chaos that ensued, because of the escalation and violence really that happened down here with these anti-ICE activists that are out here right now, still calling for them to leave, even though there aren't really any on scene anymore, Nicole.
And we have breaking news right now. We just heard from the Department of Homeland Security. That person that was shot has died. We are hearing from Tricia McLaughlin saying, quote, "Today, ICE officers in Minneapolis were conducting targeted operations when rioters began blocking ICE officers, and one of these violent rioters weaponized her vehicle, attempting to run over our law enforcement officers in an attempt to kill them, an act of domestic terrorism." Again, quote, "An ICE officer, fearing for his life, the lives of his fellow law enforcement, and the safety of the public, fired defensive shots. He used his training and saved his own life and that of his fellow officers. The alleged perpetrator was hit and is deceased. The ICE officers who were hurt are expected to make full recoveries." The quote goes on to say, quote, "This is the direct consequence of constant attacks and demonization of our officers by sanctuary politicians who fuel and encourage rampant assaults on our law enforcement. These men and women who are simply enforcing the law on the books are facing 13,000% increase in assaults against them and an 8,000% increase in death threats. This is an evolving situation, and we will give the public more information as soon as it becomes available."
Well, we've got ourselves a breaking news story coming out of Minnesota today. I normally don't do breaking news. I like to sit back, see the whole story before I pour it for you, but this is important, so I'm going to pour it before we even have the whole story. They're already starting to craft a narrative around that, and I can already see through the propaganda today, so let me say what I need to say. A woman has been shot and killed in Minnesota by the Frozen Crew. Now, of course, the Frozen Crew's trying to say that she was trying to run over them or some shit. Yeah. The problem with that fucking excuse is y'all have already used it. Y'all have already used it. And it didn't work out that way for you in that case either. Because people got telephones, you see, and they film every fucking thing. But let's talk about what's really going on. First, we got to go back just a little bit to Nick Shirley, that shit. The one that took it upon himself to spread more fear and propaganda about Somalis living in Minnesota and the daycares. We have already proven over and over again for years now that Nick Shirley is nothing but a fraudster and a fucking liar looking for clicks. That's it. As a matter of fact, I do believe a lawsuit's at play today. He's about to be sued because of what he tried to do. Daycares were vandalized, harassed, threatened. He put the lives of children in immediate danger, and that danger is still going on today. You see, Daddy Dumpy Pants did a whole lot of things just because of little Nick Shirley. He decided he was going to pull federal funding for daycares all across the nation. Then he came out the other day to say he was just going to do that to the democratically run blue states. Yeah. He also decided to deploy 2,000 more of the Frozen Crew into St. Paul, in Minneapolis too, to come after who? Somalis, boo. We're going to get back to that in just a minute. Now, you can be part of the Red Hat crew and you can be all for these immigration plays. But you never once fucking considered the strays. Stray bullets, baby. Why are drive-bys so dangerous? Because innocence dies. You never know who's going to catch one of those strays when a gang member rolls down your street and indiscriminately starts hemming up people and shooting them, baby. Innocents die every fucking time. So just imagine today you're on your Red Hat street and here comes the Frozen crew to hem up your neighbor that you hate, boo. And next thing you know, bullets are on the fly right through your front fucking door and into the eye of your child. And they die. Yeah, that never fucking occurred to you. When you were calling for them to get violent in the street with people you hate today, it never fucking occurred to you that you might catch one of their strays. And that's exactly what we're going to see happening across the US of A if they get away with using this kind of force any way they want to today. Right? Yeah. It gets worse. A doctor just so happened to be an onlooker too and tried to rush in and help the woman who was shot, boo, because doctors take an oath. They don't care. Their job is to provide life-saving care to anyone and everyone. But the Frozen crew would not let the doctor through. And gets worse. When the ambulance came, the Frozen crew took their vehicles and blocked the ambulance from getting in. Now that woman is fucking dead. Because of the Frozen crew. Not only shooting her, but refusing to let the ambulance through. Cruelty. Now let's talk about what Daddy Dumpy Pants' Supreme Court gave him the ability to do. Racially fucking profile. When it had to do with people whose skin was brown, nobody seemed to fucking care except for people like me who understood what this meant. That they would take that president and that they would apply it to other races in this nation. When the Supreme Court ruled that the Frozen crew could racially discriminate and hem you up if your skin was brown, boo, that left the door open for them to do it if you were black, too. What color is the skin of the Somali man? How long, baby? How long for the Frozen crew just tries to claim some of you that are melanated and shuck and jive for the orange fool and you put that red hat on too? How long for the Frozen crew decides that you look too Somali, boo? Maybe they'll just gun you down in the street. Maybe they'll put you on a plane in the dark of the night and fly you somewhere fucking insane. Because, you know, they can racially profile. Yeah, that never occurred to any of you shucking and jivers, did it? We told y'all. When they came after Roe v. Wade, we said it's not going to stop here. It's going to continue to go on and on and on and on. White women who simp for Daddy Dumpy Pants, baby. You bitches, honey. I want to relocate every one of your motherfucking larynxes to the back of your weak-ass spine that can't hold you the fuck up today to protect your own fucking daughters and family. Or your fucking self, baby. You hand over your rights to these fools and you think it's going to stop there? We try to fucking tell you. Now they can racially profile people that they believe are too brown. So how fucking long before they start racially profiling our beautiful black brothers and sisters of this nation and telling everybody that they must be from Somalia today? I thought they were Somali. They looked very Somali to me, and they looked like they were going to get violent, so, you know, I just... Anyway. The loss of life today is not only on the Red Hat crew and the orange dude, but Nick fucking Shirley, too. You started this, baby. You started this. Didn't you? I'll keep you abreast to the story, but the propaganda at play today is the same propaganda they tried to say about that other woman that they unalived. She tried to run over us with her car. Was that true? I have a feeling this won't be either, boo.
The riots have begun in Minneapolis over an ICE shooting. The ICE shooting, I think, was justified. Mayor Jacob Frey and Tim Walz, the mayor of Minneapolis, the governor of Minnesota, they are going to try to bring charges because they have somehow decided that ICE are bad guys, and they want to encourage everyone out there to engage in violent acts surrounding them. This is entirely the wrong message. Your job isn't to do anything to ICE. Your job isn't to do anything to infringe upon ICE being able to do their job. Your job is not in any way to engage law enforcement. Your job is to be a law-abiding citizen, and that means that you do not infringe or impinge upon ICE doing their lawfully adjudicated jobs. What is their job? Their job is to remove people who are illegally in this country. I don't know anything about the woman except she's 37 years old that was shot. And she decided that she was going to show up and try to stop ICE from doing their job. When they asked her to get out of her car, she accelerated in the vehicle in the direction of an ICE agent, and the ICE agent opened fire and killed the woman. I would guarantee you that the federal government is going to say this is justified. Based on the videos that I have seen, it seems quite clear that he was in fear of danger and death, potentially, based on that driver who should have never been there, who was following the lead of crazy people on the left in this country who have somehow decided that they want to tell everyone that they should go to try to infringe or impinge upon ICE's ability to do their jobs. This is a natural, unfortunate result of what we saw took place that was completely unjustified.
ICE just murdered a woman in Minneapolis. During a large immigration enforcement operation this morning in South Minneapolis, ICE showed up, and during this operation, an ICE agent tried to pull a woman from her vehicle. I can't show you the video because it'll probably be taken down, but when the woman was trying to drive away, was not endangering any of the lives of the ICE agents, right? One of them shot at her in the face several times, killing her. Of course, ICE and DHS immediately were trying to flip around the claims. It's like, oh, she was trying to ram into them. They're saying that it was an act of domestic terrorism, what she was trying to do. I want you to notice how fast that label came out from our government. For any independent investigation, body cam footage, any of that, before the public even has answers, right? Our government's already like, oh, domestic terrorism. We were right to do that. Meanwhile, local leaders in Minneapolis are like, hey, they should have never been here. ICE should have never showed up. Mayor of Minneapolis is saying that ICE needs to leave the city because all they're doing is creating chaos, endangering people there. And here's the part that gets me. This didn't happen in a vacuum. ICE raids create panic. Panic leads to fear. Fear leads people to make desperate decisions. Then ICE responds with lethal force and shrugs. Now, one woman is dead and their family is grieving. And the same agency with a long history of abuse is investigating this themselves and asking people to trust them. No, we cannot normalize this. We cannot accept this as routine enforcement. This is what happens when you militarize immigration. This is what happens when you dehumanize human beings. This is what happens when you let any dude off the street with fragile egos become a federal agent. Stay loud, stay paying attention, and do not let them rewrite this story.
Alright guys, so breaking news. I just found out like an hour or so on my live stream that a pew-pewing happened in Minneapolis involving federal agents. We know those federal agents are ICE. I don't know the exact details. People are speculating that they unalive somebody in their car. That part I don't know yet. When I find out, I'll make another video about it, but yeah, a pew-pewing happened involving ICE. We don't know if ICE was the one who got pew-pewed or they're the one doing the pew-pewing. If you guys get updates faster than me, drop a comment down below and let me know.
Hi all, I'd normally be doing my recap of all the news right now, but ICE has murdered a woman in cold blood in Minneapolis, and I want to focus on this story. Corporate media may not want to call it that, but we will here at Midas Touch. Here's the latest. ICE had sent their goons into the city in an attempt to terrorize the city following that whole right-wing smear campaign regarding the Somali community. They were bragging about their show of force. Well, today, an ICE agent shot and killed a U.S. citizen in her car as she was attempting to drive away from officers. She was trying to leave the scene, and the agent shot her multiple times at point-blank range. I'm sure many of you have seen the video already, and it is clear that at no point were any officers' lives in danger. But that didn't stop the Department of Homeland Security from lying about the situation and saying that the woman tried to run down ICE officers with her car. That is a blatant lie. Governor Tim Walz has released a statement saying, quote, "I have seen the video. Don't believe this propaganda machine. The state will ensure there is a full, fair, and expeditious investigation to ensure accountability and justice." The Minneapolis mayor said, quote, "So they are already trying to spin this as an action of self-defense. Having seen the video myself, I want to tell everybody directly, that is bullshit." He also added, quote, "I have a message for ICE. Get the fuck out of Minneapolis." One thing is clear, if ICE wasn't deployed to terrorize the city, this never would have happened. And as a reminder, it's well known that ICE has lowered all of its requirements and training standards to the point where almost anybody could join. This regime is out of control, folks. We're going to stay on top of this story and more. Spread the word and follow along.
So wait, you mean to tell me that the Minnesota governor drops out of his re-election campaign? The entire state of Minnesota is now under investigation for massive amounts of piracy and fraud. And then suddenly protesters start showing up, trying to interfere with ICE agents who are doing their job. And now an ICE-involved shooting happens? Huh, who didn't see that coming? Because it's not like we haven't already seen this come out of Minnesota before, you know, when Governor Walz was cheering on the BLM riots and all of that stuff after the, the event that took place up there. And it looks like they're trying to do it again. What a perfect distraction from the fact that you've got a massive fraud and piracy ring running out of the city of Minnesota. I mean, the timing is just incredible. There's just one minor problem with the fact that they're trying to stoke a new revolution out of Minnesota. And that's just the simple fact that we already have video footage of what occurred during this quote-unquote ICE-involved shooting. You see that red truck right there? That SUV? You see that red SUV? See how it's pulling out and then goes to speed off and almost hits that ICE agent with their car? You know, the ICE agent that's there doing their job, and that protester just randomly showed up trying to interfere with them doing their job. Yeah, it's all on camera. We can already see what happened. So I guess the color revolutionary forces who were trying to advance their agenda through the hands-off Venezuela protests are now going to have to make a decision. Do you protest in the streets over the arrest of an international cartel leader and usurper that had taken control of a foreign country who was arrested on an indictment? Or do you send your shock troops to Minneapolis to protest there? Because I don't think you're going to be able to do both. You're going to have to make a decision.
We demand full accountability and justice for Renee. Don't believe the lies. She was murdered in cold blood today. Don't be confused by this administration. Don't be confused by the lies. We have to see clearly, straight through those lies, and we have to keep on showing up in these streets.
Up with liberation! Up with liberation! Down with deportation! Down with deportation!
this morning, she had brothers and sisters watching her back, on her side, behind her, next to her, around her, recording every single thing that happened. And that would have not happened if all of you and all of us did not do exactly what Renee has been doing for the past weeks since this attack on our community. But today, Renee took a bullet and died because she loved her neighbors. And the question that she left for all of us is, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? She was peaceful. No matter what they say, she was peaceful. She was an observer. She did the right thing. You know, I never thought, but this moment is this moment, that we are literally blocks away from where George Floyd was murdered. It is not an accident. It is a reminder that we did not finish the job when George Floyd was killed. And now we are given another chance to stand up against police brutality, this time from ICE. It is time in this moment that we meet the moment. Renee Good's life will be talked about, and it will be the moment we have turned this country around. It will be because of Renee Good that we will think about our neighbors. And it will be because of Renee Good that this country goes from being evil to good. We need everybody. We need all of you. And in this moment, we must demand justice for Renee Good by any means necessary.